In this video, I'm going to review and compare 9 different dynamic microphones ranging from $40 to $400 to see if you really get what you pay for. Audio quality is obviously the most important part of choosing a mic, so you can skip ahead to the blind audio comparison if that's all you care about. There are other things to consider with your mic though, like build quality, built-in EQ, USB support, and other features. So first I'm going to cover those things from least to most expensive. I'm going to record each segment for each microphone using that microphone. That way you get a good idea of how they each sound in real-world use. Then I'll play some additional audio samples back to back so you can hear them all quickly and choose which one you think sounds best without any bias. This is the FDUCE SL40X, one of the least expensive broadcast-style dynamic microphones I've ever tested. This mic goes for only around $40 on Amazon. There's nothing crazy going on with this mic, but it's surprisingly well made with an all-metal faceted design. It's got a sturdy mounting yoke, includes both internal and external pop filters, and has nothing but an XLR port on the back. Solely from a feel standpoint, the FDUCE SL40X is well worth its low price, but we'll see how it sounds compared to more expensive options later. This is the Samson Q2U, and it looks like a traditional stage microphone, but don't let appearances fool you because there's a lot more to this mic than it seems. You can use this mic traditionally with the XLR port, but it also works as a USB device. It has a headphone output port for live monitoring, complete with buttons for volume control. The on-off switch controls both the XLR and USB output, which is a must for live sound environments. And there's a little rubber ring that goes around the end of the mic so you can set it down safely without damaging anything. With this microphone, you get an XLR cable, a USB cable, external pop filter, and an entire mic stand. It might just be one of the best values out there considering everything included and all of its features at just $70. This is the CAD Audio E90, a dual XLR and USB dynamic microphone. This microphone is extremely lightweight despite feeling well made and sturdy with an all-metal construction. On the front is a quick mute button, headphone monitoring jack, and a dedicated gain knob. It can be mounted to a boom arm or a stand using the included mounting yoke, but it also comes with a desktop stand of its own that you can swap out for a more compact setup. You also get an external pop filter and multiple USB cables, so everything you need to get up and running. This thing is usually just under $80, which is a great deal considering everything that's included. This is the Saramonic SR-BV1, a legitimate contender in the budget dynamic mic space. The build quality on this microphone is exceptionally good, maybe the best in this lineup, and it feels much more expensive than it is. The understated branding looks high-end, and it has one of the sparkliest silver meshes I've ever seen, as well as an external pop filter to sadly cover that up. One cool feature of the mounting yoke is that it has dual threads inside, so you never have to use those annoying little adapters for different boom arms or desktop stands. This mic goes for around $100, which is what you would expect given its similarity in looks to its intended competition. This is the Samson Q9X, a broadcast-style dynamic microphone geared mostly towards streaming and podcasting. It's got the usual metal body, adjustable mounting yoke, and XLR port on the back. One extra thing this microphone has, though, is a mid-presence boost switch. It's great to enhance the clarity of vocals, which is why I have it turned on right now. This mic comes with an external pop filter and looks nice and clean, which is something to consider if you plan to have your mic show up in your videos. You can usually find this mic for around $130. This is the Samson Q9U, a dual XLR and USB broadcast-style dynamic microphone. Although they look similar, it's not just a Samson Q9X with added features because they do sound different. And the Q9U typically goes for around $150. The Q9U has XLR and USB support, complete with an 1/8" headphone monitoring jack. On top of the mid-presence boost switch, you also get a 200 Hz low-cut filter to help roll off bass frequencies if things start sounding too muddy, plus a dedicated mute button. I previously did a short dedicated video on the Q9U if you want to see it more in-depth, but I wanted to include it here as well because pretty much everyone looking at one of these Samson mics wants to compare it to the other. This is the Rode XDM100, a dynamic USB-based microphone enhanced by Rode's flexible Unify software. The microphone itself is really stylish with anodized red details and feels extremely heavy-duty, similar to the Rode Procaster. It's got a headphone monitoring jack on the front with a pressable dual volume control dial and mute button. The pop filter is designed specifically for this mic, and you also get a shock mount on top of the included headphone extension cable and USB-C cable. One of the biggest selling points for the Rode X series of microphones is their compatibility with Rode's Unify software. Unify is a virtual mixer that lets you route and process multiple sources of audio, like your microphone, your music, and video game audio, so it's perfect for streaming and podcasting. It also unlocks the digital signal processing within the mic so you can apply EQ, compression, and more without the need for post-processing. I usually see the Rode XDM100 for around $220. This is the SE Electronics DynaCaster DCM8, an extremely well-built, first-of-its-kind dynamic microphone. If you're familiar with the Shure SM7B, you know that you typically need something like a cloud lifter to boost its volume, otherwise it'll be too quiet for practical use. The DynaCaster DCM8 has a gain booster built in that can be enabled easily directly on the mic. There are 3 switches on the back to turn on the gain booster, which they call their Dynamite preamp, as well as to fine-tune its output. The left switch lets you boost or cut the low end or leave it untouched. The middle switch controls the Dynamite preamp to add 30 decibels of gain, and the right switch has 3 positions to adjust the high end for added clarity. And of course, this mic also includes an external pop filter. This microphone goes for around $300, which I think is really fair considering the integrated gain booster, not to mention the high quality of the mic itself. Now, I've already talked about all the features of the Shure SM7B in part 1 of my dynamic mic comparison series, so I'm not going to cover them all here. But I will include audio samples from the SM7B because I know a ton of you are going to ask for it in the comments. I'm going to play audio samples for each mic in random order with no post-processing apart from volume normalization. Some of these mics do have things like EQ switches. I'm going to set those to positions that I think you would most likely have them in when recording things like vocals and that best represent that microphone. Make sure you comment and let me know which one you think sounds the best. Afterwards, I'll share which sample belonged to which mic, and you can let me know if there were any surprises. I'll follow that up with a segment from my wife, who's an audiobook narrator. That way you can listen to each mic with a female voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. There are a lot of things to consider when purchasing a microphone, including build quality and features, but most importantly, how it sounds with your voice. Now it's time for the big reveal. Sample A was the Shure SM7B. Sample B was the SE Electronics DynaCaster DCM8. Sample C was the Rode XDM100. Sample D was the Samson Q9U. Sample E was the Samson Q9X. Sample F was the Saramonic SR-BV1. Sample G was the CAD Audio E90. Sample H was the Samson Q2U. Sample I was the FDUCE SL40X. Yes, I did just put them all in reverse order, but what do you think? Was there any surprises? Now here's some samples with a female voice.
The only way Rhett will accept food is if I tell him I am going to make lunch for myself. I know this. I also know that he likely doesn't consider wine alone an acceptable lunch, so I throw together what I have. 2 ham and cheese sandwiches, probably the Wednesday special in prison. I add a mountain of barbecue chips on the side, along with a fresh sliced tomato from the garden sprinkled with salt and pepper. I'm proud of this addition. And finally, more coffee, because the man can't seem to get enough of it. Rhett chooses to eat standing, leaning against the counter. I give him the space he seems to demand, choosing to sit at the table on the far side of the room. I can't believe the bizarre twist my day has taken, and I'd be lying if I said a part of me didn't feel invigorated, excited in a messed up kind of way. My life has been so boring for so long. Then, bam, letters on my doorstep. Bam, a mystery to investigate. Bam, Rhett Cohen. We eat in silence. The windows are open, allowing the sound of the outdoors to fill the room. Birds chirping, squirrels skittering, wind rustling the brittle leaves. It's beautiful, a beautiful autumn afternoon. I intentionally did this, opening the windows, because I thought Rhett would appreciate the ambiance after living in concrete for decades.
I'll be following this up with a part 3 in my dynamic mic series once I have enough microphones for that. And if there's anything specific you want to hear, leave a comment and let me know. Links are in the description, and buying anything at all after clicking my links is the best way to support this channel at no extra cost to you. That's it for now. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.